What's up, everybody? It is Mike D. I'm coming at you live for our episode of One-on-One with one of my good friends, Calvin Chen. Him and I go way back. Amazing man. Great coach, great person, great friend. And what I'm going to do first, Calvin, just do me a favor. I know a lot about you.
Yeah.
Share a little bit more about you with everybody else out there.
So it's like, where do I start? Yeah, I was born and raised in Los Angeles. Parents, very hardworking people, came from Vietnam, immigrants. Always taught me the value of hard work and striving and all that. Went to school right around here at UC San Diego. Graduated with a degree in bioinformatics.
Wow.
But when I was about to graduate college, I decided that path was not for me. I didn't want to get my PhD anymore. After I read Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Mm-hmm.
I figured reading Rich Dad Poor Dad was actually going to teach me about personal finance because I was going to go into the real world. I needed to learn how to manage my money.
Sure.
Well, it turns out it was about being an entrepreneur, as you know.
Yep.
And so I just left at the age of 22 the whole path that I was grooming for to become a PhD in this highly paid nerd, pretty much, right? And I decided I was going to be an entrepreneur. And one thing led to another. I started working for Tony Robbins, cold calling there.
That's where we met, by the way.
Yeah, met Mike working at Tony Robbins. And then just like along the way, that's how I found out about this thing called life coaching. I would have never known what it was. And so when I saw life coaching, I was like, you know what? I want to take a stab at that. So it took me 7 months before they would hire me. 7 months of just telling me no. And I just kept coming back because it was like, I'm a cold caller, right?
Mm-hmm.
All I really have at that point,
Keep picking
just
up the phone.
persistence, just kept coming back. And so it was cool. It was great. I did coaching at Tony Robbins for like 7.5 years. So blessed to have been in that environment, learned a lot. And, now 2.5 years now, I'm in business for myself, having fulfilled on that prophecy from a long time ago, right, of wanting to be an entrepreneur. And, I'm blessed, man. Things are great.
Today, the main focus and what I wanted to bring Calvin here for was, as you just heard in his story, was to go out there, to take that leap of faith, to go against convention and be unconventional, and really take his talents, his gifts, and his life to the next level. And it's not easy. It's not easy to do it. It takes a lot of heart, it takes a lot of balls, guys, to do it. And this guy's got him. I mean, in spades. What was that moment? What can you share with everybody else out there? What was that moment, Calvin, where you said, you know what? Enough's enough. I'm taking the training wheels of life off, and I'm ready to go full blast in my own direction.
I want to answer you from the perspective or from that situation of jumping off to start my own business. Because at that moment, seriously, Mike, I left my job without even a plan. I didn't even know what I wanted to do next. I literally jumped out of the plane and built my hang glider on the way down.
Wow.
So I want to give some context here to that moment first, right?
Sure.
What I want to be able to say to you and to say to all of you guys was, I just knew I wanted to start my own business, and I said, let's go, let's do it, and with all this bravado.
Sure.
Because that would be a cool story. I feel like that would paint me as this guy that's really brave, right?
It's the epitome, right, of that situation, for sure.
But honestly, man, I have to say, I held on to my job in coaching sales for 2 years past the expiration date.
How did that feel, by the way, going past your expiration date?
It felt like I was trying to make a broken relationship work that just, is not right. It doesn't really fit. It doesn't fit with my values or my sense of integrity with who I am anymore.
Sure.
But, change your story, right? Change your state.
Your story, yep.
And so I just kept trying to change my story and change my state because honestly, I had every reason really to hold on to that job. I was making great money, I served people at a deep level, and I worked with so many people in a day, in a week, in a month, in a year, right? I had amazing colleagues in that environment that I just loved to be around. They taught me so much, and I hope that I was able to contribute back to them in some way. And I worked for Tony Robbins. You get so much significance from that, right?
Absolutely.
So, but still, all that was amazing, and I would end each day knowing that I changed so many people's lives, but for some reason I would just end the day feeling frustrated, just feeling like I was not living true to myself. And at one point, I just really felt that it was a crisis of integrity. I mean, here I am, right, on the phone with people, and I'm coaching them to really step up to their truth and live their biggest life. And here I am, playing it safe, really, because I was making the money, I was getting the significance, I was getting the love and connection, right? I was making a deep impact and making the contribution. But the truth is, I just wasn't growing anymore there. You know, and it just kind of like kept adding up and adding up and adding up, and you know, over time, I kept having to like psych myself up to serve people, but at the end of it all, I just realized that something was off. You know, like for the last couple of years, I was working at home, and I rescheduled some appointments that I already had on my calendar, and I was just like, I just felt massive resistance, and I couldn't take it anymore. So I just said, you know what, this whole changing my story and changing my state thing, it's really not working for me right now. So what I did was, I was like, all right, let me just try this on for size. I keep not wanting to say that I'm done or I quit. So I was like, well, let me just say it. And my intention was totally non-committal at all. I'm just going to say it to see what it sounds like. Right? So I said, I still remember this. I was, you know, my desk was over there. I'm like over here between my closet and my bed because I work out of my room, you know? And I was just pacing around my room, just like really in my head, right? I was like, all right, I'm just going to say it all out. Like, you know, I'm just done. And the moment when I said, you know what, I'm just done, I just felt this freedom. There's this little kid inside me that was like, you promise? You said it, you promise? Like, really? That little kid was almost like, I promised that little kid I was going to take him to Disneyland. I was like, all right, you promised, right? And so it was a really, on one hand, freeing moment, and on another hand, it was just this kind of impending sense of like, crap. You know, like I done said it.
You actually made the decision.
I didn't even know the decision made me, to be honest. Like I felt like I opened up Pandora's box and there was just no going back at that point.
Got you.
You know, because that was like, that's what integrity felt like, and it was just such a breath of fresh air, and I didn't know where I was going to go about it all. You know, and like I felt like the secret was out of the bag, and now it's kind of like, how do I tell the world? I did some real soul searching, and I talked to a really good friend and somebody that I really looked up to, Dave Blomsterberg. And he asked me, Calvin, if you could do anything in the world and feel like you couldn't fail, like what would it be? And this was also flippant, right? I was like, well, yeah, I'd be a coach and I would be a rapper. You know, like, so in college I used to rap a lot, and I recorded songs and stuff, and like, but that was like for me like a way to kind of like speak my mind and try to like move people. You know what I mean? So I always kind of had that part in me, but that was never really like looked upon as that's a part of Calvin we want to develop and encourage, you know? So I said that to Dave. He's like, I think you could totally do it. I was like, are you kidding me? Be a coach and a rapper? You know, like it's one thing to coach under Tony's name because you got that brand recognition, right? Like people know Tony Robbins. Yo, you were okay, like you look really young.
But you work
I don't
for
know
Tony
where you
Robbins.
but you work for Tony Robbins, so there's got to be something about you, right? So, but he's like, you know what? I think you can do it, and that stuck with me. Just the same way as when I was like in 5th grade, and I had that one teacher that wrote in my yearbook, Calvin, you're gonna be famous one day. I just see it in you. It's like, me? Really? Like, I just saw it in my future. So it was the same thing. Like, it's like, I want to be a coach. Someone thinks it's possible. I respect his opinion. Well, all right, you know, so I started to just tell people that, hey, this is what I think I'm going to do. And you know what's hilarious? I thought people were going to say, what's your credibility? Right? I thought people were going to say, you're crazy. You're going to do it on your own. You had such a good thing over there. But everybody was like, duh. What else did you think you were going to do?
It makes sense,
Right? It's like everyone could see it in me except for me. So I took that leap.
Good for you, man. So Calvin, on a funny note, let's end on that. Or on a cool note, let's end on that. What's a story, since like I said, Calvin and I have known each other for a long time. What's a story that you remember or you recall between you and I, or something that just really sticks out to you? Just a fun time we had, or a crazy time we had, or whatever, but something that sticks out to your mind of a moment we had together.
At spoken word night.
Yeah.
an open mic night
Yep.
at the Tribal Cafe in Silver Lake. You know, you guys were playing the music and on the drums, and that was just really cool to see you branch off and do stuff like that, because I've always had that artistic side to me, but I always felt like I needed to put it aside because it took away from like some sort of business credibility or something, because that was homeboy Calvin.
Yeah.
This is professional
Coach Calvin. Yeah.
Exactly. And people don't want homeboy, people want professional Calvin. But you know, just to see you do that, it touched something inside me to say, you know what, that's a side of me that I really missed. And so that really inspired me that night. I just really went out to support you guys.
Yeah.
You know, like playing your music and whatnot. But you know, to see you guys go, I was like, I want to go up too. You know, and like to this day, that video is still on YouTube.
Yep.
It's not like it's getting a lot of hits or anything like that, but I can always go back to see the inappropriate jokes I was making when I got up on the mic, and like the spoken word that I shared, like that to me was really memorable, because it was me taking a stand for that part of me that I'm not cool with just saying that was in my past. You know, that's still a part of me that I want to express.
Sure.
And even you doing these videos right now, Mike, like I really appreciate you just stepping out over that creative edge to say, you know what, I just want to create, I just want to put it out there. This is me, all of me, fully, and you're taking that leap. And that inspires me to say, you know what, I want to create more too. You know, and not just do things on a professional level, but as an artist. You know, like art is such a beautiful thing that I think for most people we look at it as beautiful, but it's not practical. But I really see that in this day and age, there's something really practical to putting your heart out there and putting your art out there.
Absolutely.
So thank you, man.
You're welcome, dude.
Yeah.
And I love you, man. You're a great friend. You're a brother to me. You're my family, man, and you always will be. And I hope my brother shared some knowledge with you that really hits you. And I want to end on this. Calvin was just talking about practicality. When I interviewed Gary Vee, also the same word that came up was practicality. And practicality is not following the rules, if you will. Practicality is following your heart. Be practical with following your heart, your life, your dreams. A lot of people are going to say you're crazy. A lot of people are going to say you can't do it. A lot of people are going to say you don't have what it takes. This guy's a shining example of one, and I want to be that for you guys as well. So I thank you guys for tuning in. One-on-one with Mike D. Thank Calvin again for being here. I hope you guys have a phenomenal day, and I hope this inspires you to be your best. So one last thing that I want to challenge you guys with is live to be alive and live it to thrive, guys. Mike D, we're out.